Have you ever wondered what it would be like to dine with Art the Clown, or Jason Voorhees, or Pinhead? Well, today we're going to find out what we think their favorite meals might be, and we're going to try and cook them. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be gross? Who knows? Hang out and find out. How'd that sound? How'd that go?
It's okay, I guess.
Intros are hard, you know? Who cares? Who cares about an intro? We just gotta get to it. Gotta get to it. Hello, friends. Hello, family. Today, we're gonna answer the question, what is Pennywise the Dancing Clown's favorite meal? And it's kids. Cut. It's over. His favorite meal is kids. If you've ever seen the movie, he eats children. That's literally what he does. So yeah. So that's it. We're just gonna eat children today, huh? No, obviously we're not gonna eat children today. We can't eat kids, right? But we know that Pennywise's favorite meal is little children. So what can we do instead to cook a meal that, we can eat without running into legal trouble? And I have an idea. I have an idea. So Pennywise is a clown. He talks about how much he loves things that you'd find at the circus, like popcorn and cotton candy, animal crackers, those sort of things. So what if, instead of just doing standard circus food, we made him some circus food that was a little bit more devilish? Let me grab the ingredients and I'll show you what I'm thinking. And returning to share the ingredients with us is our Facehugger popcorn buckets. Thanks so much for all of your help, little buddy. You've been so helpful. Let's see what ingredients we're working with for Pennywise the Clown. We're going to start with some cotton candy. Straightforward, nothing special there. But we're not just going to serve this like this. Oh, no. We are going to top it with graveyard sprinkles. That's right. Bones and eyeballs and blood. Graveyard cotton candy is what I'm thinking there. The other thing I'm thinking, instead of animal crackers, what if we made kid cookies? And not just any kind of kid cookies. We have a special tool. Dead cookies. That's right. We'll be making some cookies shaped like a gingerbread man. But we're using our imagination here. And then obviously to decorate those little children cookies, we're gonna need a little bit of blood. There you go. And then last but not least, obviously, we're going to need some popcorn, but not just any kind of popcorn. We're going to be topping that popcorn with some blood chocolate. And look, so I learned my lesson from the blood chocolate for Pinhead's cinnamon rolls. Those obviously did not turn out good at all. So this time around, we have dark chocolate with red gel food coloring, and I'm hoping this looks a little bit more like blood and a little bit less like pink sludge like the last one looked like. So hopefully this will turn out better. And real talk, let's come together for a minute and discuss the dishes we've made so far. So we made teenager pizza for Jason Voorhees, and that did not turn out very good. The pizza crust was great. The blood and guts cherry pie filling was great. The skin cheese topping was great. Where that went downhill was when we did the gummy body parts. That was horrible. It tasted like food coloring and fake sugar. It was awful. I had regrets. So we failed Jason Voorhees. I felt like that was a terrible dish. And then for our buddy Pinhead, we tried to make Cinnabite cinnamon rolls. And those were also a horrible failure. The cinnamon rolls that we used were not good. The base, don't use tube cinnamon rolls. Apparently they're crappy. We tried to put blood chocolate on them and it ended up looking like pink sludge. And then we tried to put chains on them with little purple Fruit Loop things. Then it ended up just looking like purple Fruit Loops instead of chains. And then all together, eating that tasted awful. The combination of cinnamon plus chocolate plus grapefruit loops is not a combination anybody should ever eat. So we failed that dish as well. So we're coming off of 2 failures. So we gotta step up our game here. We really gotta make sure that for Pennywise the clown, he actually has something edible, or at the very least looks good. Like, I'll take one or the other. They don't have to be both. So I'm hopeful here. We've got a strong running. I've tried to learn from my mistakes, like I said, with the dark chocolate and the food coloring. So let's get to cooking and see what we can come up with here. So we're gonna start with our sugar cookies, our people cookies. And I am using a pre-made dough. I know I'm lazy, but hopefully we'll have better luck this time around. Now this is kind of nifty. You can either unroll it and cut it and bake it exactly as it is, or you can do cutout cookies, which is what we'll be doing. So to do that, first up, we do need to preheat our oven. It says 350 or 325 for a nonstick cookie sheet. I guess we'll do 325. Why would you cook on anything other than a nonstick cookie sheet? That don't make no sense. And then we're gonna kind of skip down here to the cutout cookies. So it says knead a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour into the dough. Roll on floured surface until a 1/4 inch thick. Cut with cutters and then bake for 8 to 11 minutes. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get a bowl so that we can knead this in with our flour. All right, 1/4 cup of flour. We'll also keep a little bit of flour on the side for when we go to knead this. Now let's put our cookie dough in here and knead it all together. Boop. Now this is the kind of cookie dough that is, you can just eat it straight out of the package, which is kind of cool. So let's take a little bite. Yum. Tastes yummy. All right, let's knead this all together. It does not want to pick up the flour very well, but we just got to keep working it, I think. This has officially absorbed most of that flour, so let's roll it out. I just realized I don't really have a rolling pin. I don't know why that wasn't something I thought I might need. So we'll see. We'll see how this works. Let's try to flatten it out with our hands and see what happens there. It don't gotta be perfect. Let's see. Well, this is sort of working, but it'd be a lot better if I had a rolling pin. I don't know why I didn't think I would need a rolling pin for this. Just didn't cross my mind. All right, so here's what I found to work as a rolling pin. A partially drank bottle of wine. So the only issue with this is that it's got like a paper label on it, which I'm debating on if I should try and scrub that off, but then I feel like it's just gonna have, you know, sticky goop on it. But then otherwise I think I might end up with paper. Let's see. Anything else that might work better? Oh, I know what'll work. All right, so here's what we're going to use as an alternative to a rolling pin. This is just a pint glass, but it's got a flat edge on it, so I feel like this could work. We do need to put some flour on it, though, because it's wanting to stick. All right, let's flour up our pint glass. All right, now let's try and roll it. We're going to want to be careful we don't accidentally break the glass. That would end poorly. But this seems to be working. It's not perfect, but you know, we're getting thin and flat. It's wanting to stick still. We're still getting bits and pieces of it wanting to stick. Don't break the glass. That ruins everything. I think we're good here. It's not perfect. And you know, as per usual, we're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for hopefully decent enough. So before we start cutting out, let's go ahead and prep our baking sheet. All right, baking sheet ready to go. Finally, let's put a little bit of flour on our cookie cutter and let's see what happens here. It might not be thick enough. Yeah, it's not quite thick enough. I'm actually not getting enough of the little tie-ins here. So let's fold it over and see if that helps. It's wanting to fall apart on me. Oh no. I think it's starting to get kind of warm, so that's a problem. Okay, let's try this one more time. We want to roll not quite as thick as we had it out before. All right, I think this is a little better. So take 2. Hopefully this time this works. Let's try this again. Take 2. Oh yeah, that's much better. It actually goes all the way in. I'm just looking to get a couple good ones out of this. This doesn't all have to be perfect. Hey! Oh, that looks great. Let me get a little spatula for him. Well, I was hoping the spatula would help, but it's not really helping. man, he's kind of delicate. Oh, he lost his arm. He lost his arm, but that's okay. You know, he didn't need that arm anyway, right? Here, we'll stick him back on. There we go. All right, let's see if we can't get a couple more out of this. There. All right, we've got 5 cookies. Let's put them in and pray for the best. Good luck, cookies. I hope you actually look like people. All right, while our cookies are baking, we're going to attempt to make blood chocolate and do hopefully a better job this time than we did last time. So we're gonna start by melting some of our dark chocolate wafers. We don't need a ton because we're just gonna drizzle it over the popcorn. So there we go. We'll throw those in and start getting them melted. Now my hope is that these mixed with some red plus maybe some blue is going to actually give us like more of a blood color than that crappy red chocolate we used for the pinhead recipe. Now that said, my other goal here is for this to also taste better. I love dark chocolate. That pink chocolate stuff, ugh, not only did it not look like blood, but it didn't taste good either. It was just no bueno all around. Today's public domain horror movie is Nosferatu 1922. Such a classic, and if you've never seen this one or the new one that came out in 24, I recommend them both. They're a lot of fun. Already smells better than that other crappy red stuff. Let's attempt to color these so that they are bloody. Let's obviously start with some red. That's a lot. I probably didn't need that much. Let's see what that does for us. It's hardening my chocolate, so the chocolate might have to go back in after this. Really hardening the chocolate. Oh my goodness, interesting. But this is still looking pretty dark brown and not red. So let's do more red. Let's stick this back into the microwave and see if it'll melt down a little bit more again. Here it is in the light, so it still just looks brown with maybe a red glimmer on it. I don't know. Not looking very red yet. Something about putting the food dye in here basically made this like turn into not melted anymore. It's the weirdest thing. It's like a different consistency now. Our cookies should be done. So let's see what we're looking like. They are fat. Shouldn't have touched him. Now he has a dent in him. I feel like they're still not very brown. Like maybe they need to still go in a few more minutes. All right, are you melting at all? Not really, no. So, okay, our experiment failed here. So the act of adding the red dye basically caused the chocolate to become like a completely different consistency. And I am obviously no baker, so I don't really understand what happened here, why this happened. But yeah, this is like, it's warm. It is warm, but it is not melted. And I don't think putting it in there any longer is going to melt it. I think, here's a better look at the consistency of this. It is bizarre. If anybody knows why this did this, let me know. But that didn't work. So we're gonna try something else. I don't know what yet. So how about this? How about instead of trying to dye the dark chocolate, we do the red again and then add a couple dark wafers in here. And maybe that combo will give us a darker color without that weird consistency issue that we're having. So let's try this and see what happens. I'm like personally offended at how poorly the first 2 dishes turned out. So I have a vendetta to make sure that this actually turns out the way I want it to, dang it. It might need more of the red, but here's a better look at what color we're looking like. So it mostly just got brown. Let's put more of the pink in there and then put it back in for a little bit longer. It apparently did not take much of the dark. All right, I'm taking these damn cookies out, whether they're done or not. They've been in there much longer than they were said to put them in there for. So here's what the cookies are looking like. They got a little fat, but that's okay. We're gonna decorate them, and I think it's gonna be good. They still feel so soft. It's the weirdest thing. Like they didn't bake. They've been in there for like 10 more minutes than what you're supposed to put them in there for. So annoying. Maybe because they had all the extra flour. I have no idea. I'm hoping they'll sit out and like solidify. Well, I wouldn't say that's exactly blood colored, but it's definitely closer than just the red by itself was. I'll give it that much. I would love to put, I feel like a little bit of blue food coloring in this would get us where we need to be, but I'm absolutely not going to put any food coloring in it because it just screws up the consistency. So I think we're going to leave it at this. It's not a perfect blood, but it's definitely better than what it was. So let's go ahead and make our popcorn. Popcorn. I think this guy right here, this is the one who turned out the best. We got that guy who looks like he got hit by a dump truck. This guy who looks like he was never alive to begin with. This guy who's like, why did you smush me in my heart? And this guy who looks like he died from diabetes. Those are our children cookies so far. Popcorn. We're gonna want that to cool off before we do anything with it. Hey, they're stiffening up. In an attempt to get these to cool off a little faster, we'll stick them in the fridge. All right, while everything's cooling off, let's go ahead and prep our cotton candy. And in theory, this is hopefully the easiest part of this. So here's our cotton candy. We want to kind of poof it. Actually, that does kind of look, I kind of poof it if we can. Cotton candy is so hard to work with because if your fingers are moist at all, it just sort of disintegrates, which we don't want. We don't want it to disintegrate. All right, it's not looking the prettiest, but that's okay. I think that looks good. Get it kind of piled up on the plate like that. Taking a bite for myself. When's the last time you've had cotton candy? You know, who eats cotton candy? Oh my gosh, so sweet. Blah. Now, I do love these sprinkles. They're so cool. Lay sprinkles. Calais sprinkle? I don't know. Look at how cool these look. So let's see. Will it just sit there? Actually, it didn't do a bad job. Let's pour some out and see about... Hey, this is doing okay. You just kind of gotta mush it in there a little bit, and then it works. Hey, so this is kind of working. Let's see if I just do that. No, no, that doesn't work at all. Yeah, it's like each little bit has to be individually put on there. All right, well, I'm gonna keep fiddling with this, and then you can come back when we go to top our popcorn. All right, our popcorn's pretty much cooled off, so let's get this plated, see how our chocolate's doing. All right, like I said, it's not perfectly blood colored, but it's a lot better than it was compared to the last time we tried to make this. So it's actually turned into almost like a purpley color. I think that's enough blood. Yum. Ooh, bloody popcorn. We've got one last thing to do. We got to decorate our people cookies and then we're set. Well, Pennywise, are you ready to see your favorite dish? Ta-da! We've got dead cookies. We've got popcorn with gooey blood. And we've got cotton candy from the graveyard. What do you think, Pennywise? I have to say, I think, not sure how Pennywise feels, but I think that this is our best one yet. Everything actually at least looks good. So we'll take it as a win. Yay! At least in terms of how it looks. Now, how does it taste? That's the real question. So let's try all of this and see if it's any good or not. Let's start with our bloody popcorn. Oh, yum. So the chocolate didn't quite get bloody, but you'll see I added a little bit of red icing on there to kind of help sell it. You know, apparently making chocolate look like blood is really hard to do. If you have tips on how to do that, let me know. Oh, wow, that's actually good. I mean, it's chocolate covered popcorn. How can you go wrong, you know? It's a little sweet. I still don't like that red wafer chocolate. It's too sweet. But the buttery popcorn definitely helps balance it out. So it's actually pretty good. The popcorn is a win. Now let's try our cotton candy from the graveyard. And we got to get it with the graveyard sprinkles. Oh, There's straight sugar. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. That is straight sugar. Obviously, cotton candy is just sugar. The sprinkles are literally just sugar. There's a lot of sugar. So, you know, maybe if you absolutely love sugar, you would love this. It's not for me. It's too sweet, but not bad. I mean, it's edible. Yay! Last but not least, let's try one of our children cookies. not bad. For a dough roll of cookie dough, that's not bad at all. I think if we had cooked it to the instructions, it'd be not cooked. I think it'd be undercooked. So we added a lot of time to it, but I think that was necessary. Yeah. I would call that a resounding success. Yay, finally. We have a successful dish for Pennywise the Clown. I think he would love this. I think he would love all the death and destruction. Personally, it's a little sugary for me all around, but you know what? It's not for me, it's for Pennywise, and I think he would have loved all this. So let me know, what do you think? Would you eat this? Do you think Pennywise truly would have loved this or not? If you think I'm wrong, tell me. What would you have cooked for Pennywise? I'd love to hear it.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. And now, on with the show.
Hello, friends. Hello, family, and welcome to today's guest of honor, Art the Clown. Oh, isn't he beautiful? Such a lovely little fellow. Today, we're going to ask ourselves, what is Art the Clown's favorite dish? I don't think he actually eats anything. Yeah, he doesn't really, well, they are in a pizza place at one point, but he doesn't eat anything there. And then after the first movie, he basically turns into a demon, and I'm pretty sure demons don't eat. That being said, we have to cook him a dish. So let's think about it a little bit. What does Art the Clown, or what would Art the Clown potentially love to eat? Well, he carries around that great big black trash bag all the time. So what if we did kind of like trash can nachos, but instead of trash can, trash bag nachos? It's a bit of a stretch. Look, this whole thing has to be a stretch, okay? He's a demon. He doesn't eat anything. We're just going to have to do our best, all right? Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit. But no, I think we're going to make him trash bag nachos. And look, I think you'll agree why this would be perfect for him once you see what we're going to be working with. All right, so to make Art the Clown trash bag nachos, of course, first we're gonna need a black trash bag. Bam, done. Next, we're gonna need the chips, and for that, we will be using salt and vinegar chips. If you don't understand why we are using salt and vinegar chips instead of regular tortilla chips, go watch Terrifier 2. Or don't. If you're not into gore, I don't recommend it. It is a very gory movie, and speaking of gore, we'll be topping it with salsa, which will be acting as our blood and guts. Yum. And then, of course, nachos. You know, nachos are all about the toppings. So we've got, and you'll see, this has been opened already, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We've got some guacamole. We've got bean dip. And we have mild cheddar cheese dip. So those are our nacho toppings. And that's it. This is far too simple. You are right. Far too simple. Art the Clown doesn't just want to eat chips with some standard toppings on it. So we did something special with all these toppings. Let me show you. What do you think is in that bag? I care about what's in that bag. That's what we're trying to make. Art the Clown has power tools. So I found this super nifty power tool mold, and we're gonna basically put these different dips inside of this mold and freeze them. Now, yes, does that mean that they're gonna be frozen on top of the chips? Yeah, they are, but at the end of the day, they're going to look really good, I hope. So let's put some dips in some mold and see what we can come up with. Obviously, these aren't the colors of power tools, but we're not shooting for perfect here. We're shooting for good enough. Let's start with the bean dip. We might have to heat this up a little bit first to make sure that it's soft enough to go into the molds. Mmm, delicious. Smells beanerific. That sounds cool. It smells very beany. It smells like spicy beans, even though I think this is the regular bean version. All right, so we'll put that back on there later. Let's see what we can do here as far as getting this in there. we're gonna want to really make sure it's like in there so that it pops out as like a full thing and not like missing parts, if that makes sense. So let's do this. Let's kind of mush it into these first 4 molds. This one's gonna be weird because the handles are so thin. I'm a little worried it's not gonna get in there all the way. So I'm really mashing it down in there because like I said, we want it to come all the way, go all the way in there so that it makes a whole thing and doesn't have like bubbles or anything like that going on. All right, let's, we'll kind of smack it and make a mess to try and settle it down in there. Let's now scrape off the excess. Got a little scraper tool right here. This is not its intended use, but that's okay. Lovely. And that's our bean dip in the molds. Now, I was gonna do the rest of everything in the rest of these molds, and I'm kind of wondering if I should just do this 3 separate times. Do everything with bean, everything with guac, and then everything with the cheese dip. Because look, now that I'm like picking it back up to handle it again, we're running into issues. It's starting to squish out a little bit, and we don't want that. We want it to stay in there. And I'm afraid, putting in, and like we've spilled over into other ones a little bit, I think it makes sense actually to do this 3 separate times. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fill this mold entirely with bean dip, come back and do it again entirely with guacamole, and then one more time with the cheese dip. Freeze each of them. We'll pop them out a little bit later when we get ready to top the nachos. Bean dip power tools going into the freezer. Well, now that you've seen what we did with our toppings to make them Art the Clown approved, the last thing to do is to go ahead and pile it up. So let's fill up our trash bag with some salt and vinegar chips. Done. Beautiful. Let's put some blood and guts salsa on there. Oh, yes. Nice and gutty. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yum. Oh, heck yeah. All the guts. Oh, delicious. Beautiful. Now, let's see how our toppings turned out. So here we have our guacamole tools. We have not taken these out yet, but we've already done our bean dip ones and our cheese dip ones. So here's what I've found about these, now that this is the last tool. The bean dip so far held up the best. Guacamole seems to be holding up pretty good too. These are very, very delicate though. Once you pop them out, they almost immediately start to melt. Especially the cheese. The cheese one was terrible. We lost a few of the cheese ones because they just started melting so fast. So we kind of have to layer this up quickly. Oh, and this one just cracked. Wah, wah. Oh, and that one cracked. Oh no. Let's see if we can get at least a few more guacamole ones out of there without messing them up. There we go. The wrench. Oop. Well, we want to be able to see it. Let's see. This one, I haven't been able to get any of them out of this one. The handles are just too thin. Yeah, they just break every single time. That broke. Maybe we can get the screwdriver out. Yeah, there we go. I think this is probably, this is pretty good on the guacamole ones. The rest of these aren't wanting to come out very well. Ah, that one did. There. All right. Well, that's good on the guacamole ones. Let me grab the other ones because this is a race against the clock now to put these on here before they melt. So I'm going to top this with the rest and we'll be right back. Well, Art, are you ready to see your trash bag nachos? Ta-da! We've got salt and vinegar chips topped with blood and guts salsa, and then our bean, cheese, and guacamole dip in the shapes of all of the power tools, typically in your trash bag that you carry around with you to murder people with. So there we go. It came together pretty fast once we got all of the little things out of their molds. Now the real question is, while these look really cool, they did turn out really cool, they probably are going to taste weird. I don't know many nachos where all the toppings are pretty much frozen. So let's try one and see if it's any good. We'll try and get everything on this one. Oh, the cheese ones are already melting. The cheese ones just did not want to hold up. They wanted to melt right away. So let's take a bite. Ooh. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mmm. Now that is a weird experience. It's like eating, I don't know how to describe it. So everything's frozen, right? But then you put it all in your mouth and it melts. So it's kind of like traditional nachos in the flavor, but you don't get that right away. At first you just get that it's cold, and then as it melts, you get the flavor. So it's just a different experience, but still nacho adjacent. It's not a bad experience, it's just a weird one. It's just weird. But not bad. I thought maybe the salt and vinegar chips being on here would make it gross, but really they're not bad. I don't know that I would ever do this again. There'd be no reason. There's zero reason to ever do this, but I'm not mad at it either. Not mad I have to eat it. It probably helps that it's late at night and I haven't had dinner yet. So I'm a little hungry. Nah, the things do not stay together very long. They're already melting, but that's okay. Well, now that we've tried everything, we're at the end of our series and I hope you've enjoyed all of it. Let's recap everything we've made and see where we went right and see where we went horribly wrong. Now that we're all done, let's recap. Are you saying you didn't love everything you made? I'm saying some of these dishes definitely kind of turned out not good. So let's start with Mr. Jason Voorhees here. For Jason, we made teenager pizza. That was topped with cherry pie filling, the really cool Ski Queen caramely cheese, and then the gummy body parts. And the gummy body parts is where we went wrong on that particular recipe. The pizza itself would have been good with just the cherry topping and just that cheese. But the gummies were disgusting. They tasted like fake sugar and food dye, and they were awful. And I regretted putting them on there altogether. So we'll rate these based on two different factors. One, if they were, if I liked them, and that'll be based on how they looked and how they tasted. And then two, on if the character would have liked them. So at least for teenager pizza, for how I liked it, hated it, I would give it like a 1 out of 10, only because the rest of it was fine. It was like if you got bites of it without that gummy crap on it, it was edible. But as soon as you got a bite of one of those gummy body parts, it was terrible. So I'd give it a 1 out of 10 on my end. Do I think Jason Voorhees would have loved it? Well, I don't think Jason Voorhees eats.
Yeah, I don't think he eats either.
Yeah, he's basically, a hellspawn child who died and then his mother cursed him to come back to life kind of thing. So I don't think he eats. But I think if he did eat and he had a pizza that had teenager blood and guts and body parts on it and skin, I think he'd really like that. So I would give that one an 8 out of 10. For whether or not Jason Voorhees genuinely would have liked that idea of the dish. Obviously, it didn't turn out very good, but that's what I think about it. So moving on to Pinhead. For Pinhead, we made Centobite cinnamon rolls, and I would say that was the biggest failure out of the whole deal. Nothing about that dish was good. The canned cinnamon rolls, awful. The pink icing or pink chocolate that was supposed to be red blood, awful. Both tasted bad and didn't look like I wanted it to look like. And then the Fruit Loop chains, also awful. Both, again, also tasted bad, at least in conjunction with the other ingredients, and didn't look like chains. So I give that one like a negative 30 out of 10. It was really, really bad, and I regretted it, and I was really mad at the end of that episode because it turned out so bad. Yeah, that one was horrible. Yes, I've seen you make some stinkers, but that one really wasn't good. Agreed. Yeah, that one really wasn't good. Now, in terms of whether or not Pinhead would like it, again, this is a character who's pretty much, he comes from hell. I don't think he eats. If he did eat, would he like Centobite cinnamon rolls? No, I don't think he would, honestly. Like, the only reason I picked that was because Centobite cinnamon rolls kind of was a pun, name them. But no, I don't think he would have ate that, and he definitely wouldn't have ate it in the form factor that we made it with the blood and the chains. It just wasn't good. All around, I don't think he would have liked it. I think it was the worst dish out of the whole bunch. So yeah, boo to that one. So let's move on to Mr. Pennywise's dish. For Pennywise, we know, because in the movies, that Pennywise eats children. So we already know what Pennywise's favorite dish is. It's children. But we couldn't just eat children, obviously, for all the reasons why you'd think. So we made cursed circus snacks, essentially. Circus snacks, well, all of those circus snacks had, you know, bits of people or children. So we had the popcorn drizzled in blood, which I think turned out a little bit better than the blood on the cinnamon rolls. Not perfect still, but at least better. Then we had the cotton candy topped with graveyard sprinkles, which turned out, I mean, it was way too sweet for me, but it looked really good. And then we had the children cookies, which looked great and tasted pretty good as well. So my personal score for the Pennywise Cursed Circus Snacks, I would give that like an 8 out of 10. I think it went really, really well. Pennywise, I think he'd give it a 10 out of 10. He loves children. Basically, one of those was just to play to children. So of course he would love that. I think Pennywise would give that a 10 out of 10. So far, Pennywise, best dish. And then that leaves today's dish for Art the Clown, the trash bag nachos. Now, we discussed earlier, again, I don't think Art the Clown eats anything, but if he did, would he eat nachos out of his trash bag? Especially if they were topped with blood and guts and, you know, the various tools that he uses to kill people with. Yeah, I think he'd eat that. Personally, I give that like a 6 out of 10. It looked really cool and it tasted okay. It was just a weird experience because everything was frozen on top, but not bad. Edible, not bad. I think Pennywise, sorry, I'm getting my clowns mixed up. I think Art the Clown would give that maybe a 9 out of 10. I don't think he'd give it quite as high as Pennywise gave his, but only because I don't think he eats. So that's the score I think Art the Clown would give those nachos. So that means I think the winner of all of these dishes was Pennywise's Cursed Circus Snacks was the winning dish. So let me know down in the comments, what would you have cooked for these movie characters? Would you have done something different for them? Do you agree with the rankings that I gave? Well, I assumed the characters would give those dishes. Tell me down in the comments, yes or no, and let me know if you like this series or not. We might do it again for other characters. And as always, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you watching. Bye-bye, babies.